What's good, everybody? Inada here, back with another Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker video. If you're a range type that wants to engage multiple enemies at a time, or have trouble with your opponents constantly guarding and deflecting your attacks, then this is definitely the video for you. However, if you don't fit into any of those categories, stick around until the end of the video because I might just say something that you didn't already know about. And with that being said, let's jump into this week's episode of Inada's Shinobi Tactics. Inferno style flame control is a range type technique that you learn from Sasuke Uchiha at training rank 4. It has an 18-second cooldown duration. The Inferno style flame control's description reads, a jutsu that transforms Amaterasu's black flames into a blade shape, then radiates multiple blades out toward the target. Upon impact, the blades deal damage and cause the target to suffer from continuous burn damage. First tip for you today. When your Inferno style flames hit an enemy, that enemy continues to lose health for 10 seconds. This technique isn't a hard hitting one, so if you're using this in flag battle, don't expect to knock the flag away from your opponent or even stun them. You'll know that your Inferno style hit your opponent or opponents because you'll see a red arrow pointing down beside their health. If you look close enough, you can also see that the target has black flames on their body. Once the arrow disappears, the debuff has stopped and they will stop losing health. If your enemy managed to get out of your line of sight and you don't know where they are, but your black flames have already begun chasing them, another way you'll be informed that your attack landed is your combo counter will go up. If you hit multiple enemies, your combo counter will increase multiple times. Inferno style can be a bit inconsistent when it hits though. I've seen it hit one enemy up to 3 times as well as just 1 time. Either way, the duration of the Inferno style debuff is good on its own. However, the cooldown of this technique and the duration that the debuff lasts isn't enough to keep the debuff active at all times. But if you equip a top that lengthens debuffs and a bottom that decreases ninjutsu cooldown time, the gap between each debuff drops to around 5 seconds.
Nice.
This technique can hit up to 3 people at a time, which makes it very good for taking out multiple enemies at once. To hit multiple people with this technique, your enemies have to be in front of you. This ability can also be taken advantage of in barrier battle. Gamakichi has multiple hitboxes, so if you make sure that no enemies are between you and him, every flame will go after a different hitbox. Some good things about Inferno style flame control is this technique can't be blocked, so make sure to use it against people who guard a lot. It also has very good tracking and deals quite a bit of damage from just connecting without the continuous burn damage. The bad thing is, it doesn't have the best range and it moves slow. If your enemy runs until they're out of range of it or they run the flames into an object, they can avoid all damage. If you watched last week's episode of Shinobi Tactics, you'll also know that teleportation jutsu can also counter this technique. You can find the link to that video in the description. Maybe the biggest weakness to this technique, if the enemy is using cellular extraction jutsu, they'll instantly remove the debuff from themselves and all of their teammates nearby.
What? What the f?
But there is a way to counter this. Wait until the enemy healer uses their jutsu first, and then hit them with Inferno style flame control to get the maximum damage. After it lands, as long as you keep the pressure on the healer, you should be able to get the maximum damage of this technique every time.
Yeah, boy.
Here's a few ways to maximize the potential of Inferno style flame control. If you're fighting against someone who likes to dash around with Chidori, Rasengan, etc., once you hit them with a flame control debuff, try to stand close to a wall. As soon as they launch at you, jump onto the wall and they'll collide with the wall and fall down. When you have a burning debuff, if you move fast and touch a wall, for some reason the wall treats you like you got knocked into it. If you're more of the survival exercise type of player, it's a good technique to rack up points because as long as you have someone debuffed, if they die, the kill also counts towards your score. What makes this even better is that even if you die, the debuff stays active. In a team setting, this helps your team out because you're weakening the enemy team even when you're waiting to respawn. This is my final tactic in this week's episode of Shinobi Tactics, and in my opinion, the most important one. It's also a small tip on how to use your substitution or clone jutsu. When someone substitutes after receiving damage, they recover health. The amount of health they recover is equal to half of the amount of damage they receive. Basically what this means is if you hit your opponent while you have your debuff on them and they use substitution, they'll recover a bit of their health. They'll still have the debuff on them, but you should always want to make the most out of your jutsu. So the way you can get the full effect of this jutsu, as well as any of your other jutsu, is to pressure your opponent to use their substitution first, and then hit them with your technique. But remember, When going against the healer, not only do you have to pressure them into using their substitution, you also have to wait for them to use their cellular extraction jutsu. How you achieve this is up to you.
You can do it!
And that's all for today's Shinobi Tactics video. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking through to the end. Hopefully this video gave you some ideas on how to use Inferno style flame control in your future battles. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I missed anything that you feel is important. While you're down there, tell me what's your favorite base game jutsu. It can even be an ultimate if you want. If you enjoyed this content or learned anything new, hit that like button and share this video. It really helps the channel out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it if you do. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn those post notifications on so that you'll be notified as soon as I post another video. This is Inada. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, I'm out, y'all.
Yeah, boy.